Yeah, I'm up early. I've been up since fucking 3. Started a Twitter thread making fun of. I'll get to that later. I'll get to the parody stuff later. But doing some play-by-post stuff in the morning on my phone for my game. It's not one time totally, but sort of. I keep weird hours. My buddy keeps even weirder hours. So he's asking questions about libraries, and I'm answering them because I'm available. He's available. It's 3 or 4 in the morning. There's nothing else to do, so why not take care of the particulars of your D&D campaign? All right. So I asked a simple question: are you ordering the books locally from this island country you're on, or are you ordering them from your homeland? What's the difference? How long's the difference? How do you know? I mean, I'm asking what you're doing. All right, so that's the kicker. Players always want to know A or B before actually enacting on that path. And they want the answers beforehand instead of initiating actions. Which one are you doing? You could spend the time to figure out how long it could possibly be to order from the city down the side of the island where you know nobody. You'll have to use an intermediary. Or you could draft a letter and pay a courier to transport the treasure to a place you know to buy stuff. Which I asked, do you charge shipping and handling when your characters have to order stuff from afar? Having the merchant deliver something to your stronghold, or having the merchants deliver something to your keep, should cost extra. Versus walking in and paying for something, there has to be people transporting it. Now granted, they're not going to make a lot. So I just said 15%. So 15% of a 500 gold piece library. Now, I'm not really going to do the math on how many actual books that is and blah, blah, blah. So it'll be several crates full of your research library. So you're paying someone and they're ordering it, and then there's going to be people carrying it back. Or you go do it yourself. We get on a boat, we take the boat ride, we order all the books, and we ship them back on a boat. This is reasonable. Some people will just want to hand wave it. Well, the cost would go up. And the more remote your lair, your keep, or the dungeon you decide to live in, the harder it will be to get stuff there. And I pointed out in this one adventure description, they took over this keep. They were granted title to the keep. They're not nobles, but I mean, it serves a purpose. And I think that'll play itself out in the game, right? They don't even realize it, but they're already being manipulated by the powers that be to protect borders. Big theme of my games, borders. So I don't think it's unreasonable. I think we shouldn't hand wave these minor details. Now, there's a certain point where it gets to be aggravating. I was playing Lord Mattias this game, and the logistics chain became probably 25-35% of the game. I like just assign some gold and time and be done with it. But it does, whoever I interacted with on Twitter, they were pointing out the delivery is the adventure. And I'm like, well, that's the mentality that you're traveling from point A to point B and doing everything yourself. When technically, when you get to a certain level, that's why you have retainers, henchmen, and hireling. They take care of that stuff. I turn to my shield man and go, Shield Man Sam, I'm entrusting you with this task. Take this treasure and travel to Lost Norton And at Lost Norton, I need you to acquire for me the means for us to be able to do our spell research. This is a list. I'll write out this. If you want to, charge them for each sheet of paper they're writing out on. Go blah, blah, blah. This is what I need. Make it happen. And you have a competent man-at-arms. You have a competent retainer. You have a competent follower who can execute that. And you don't lose actual adventuring time. Right? Now, I'm not one to prescribe that you're going back to the dungeon. I assign time between each dungeon for 6 days, 8 days of Sky, and I assign training time. Although I'm not doing training cost in Old School Essentials. If I'm ever to run AD&D or OSRIC again, I will do raw on training, and that is insane. The majority of your treasure goes into training to gain levels, and if you don't do it, I mean, I get it. I also don't do XP for magic items in AD&D, because if I did, I know I'd choke down how many magic items are given out, because that's a way to skyrocket through the levels. If you looked at some of the AD&D modules, and the fun part of a D&D campaign is that 3 to 7 range, in my opinion. Once you guys hit 3rd level, the XP progression slows down. It gets progressively harder, but the XP requirements really drag out that level range of modules. It's why there's so many more in that range, because you're at those levels the longest time. That's why on some of I see some people do dungeon design where you level every level. Not necessarily. There should be a band of levels where they're all in the same level range, because you'll be slugging it out in those for a while. But anyway, I'm sidetracked from the merchants are going to merchant. The most powerful class in your D&D world, outside of the royalty and those who wield true power, is going to be your merchant class. If you don't believe me, look around the world. Okay, pay attention, notice things. Merchants run the world. And the way I'm doing my Duke of Restonford, he is very not a friend of the merchant class. He's a friend of the people. He's a populist ruler, which makes him unpopular with those who want a more authoritarian control of the people. But it makes it harder for my players to buy and do things in town, because there's no actual state-sanctioned money changer, which they're so used to. Just 10%, make it all gems. Just did a bit like, no. These are all interpersonal reactions, which are more RP reactions, and you're going and selling stuff to people who are more interested in those items, or, heaven forbid, you don't liquidate every piece of jewelry into treasure coinage. You wear it, or you barter it, or you hoard it just like the way you found it. I am so shocked that one of my players is not putting on this 2,000 gold piece circular. I already have a description made out in case they do. Because you see these illustrations in the games, in the material over the years that we've had. When you see him with the jeweled circlet, your assumption is he's wearing a jeweled circlet, or your assumption is, what kind of magic item is that? And that's the mentality, as my friend Mick would call it, the video gameism. If it doesn't have a magical function, then why am I wearing it? Right? That slots for a magic item. It's not for ornamentation. Do you think the crown the king wears is magical because he's got a head slot dedicated to the crown? Or is it a display of wealth and power and authority? Pretty people have it easier, and those who dress sharply and look like they are in a position of wealth and status get noticed and get things done faster. If you come in looking like a homeless guy, or I used to work in sales and I talk to everybody because because I treated everybody the same. But I had worked with people who wouldn't go to people if they thought they didn't have enough money to drop down and build that basket, right? I'm from a region where people don't trust people in suits. So not everybody suits up or dresses up except when they're going to church or funerals. So my interactions are a little different, but generally speaking, in the modern world and in the past, folks who walk in who look like they have money get more attention. Just how it is. So it's a little bit of realism in my fantasy world, a little bit of psychology, I guess. Commentary. I do that a lot. But the shipping and handling. Kicking prices up for your items. Now this will turn into situations where your characters may turn into merchants themselves, to where point A and point B, and they're traveling back and forth, and they notice a difference in prices. They may buy low and sell high, make a little extra coinage on the side. Perfect, support it. If they start treading into the merchant's territory, though, they will find they will create enemies in the hierarchy of your campaign world. Highly recommend it. Some people don't want a highly political game. Some people don't want an urban adventure. I hate urban adventures, by the way. But players always want to have a place away from the urban center so they're completely in charge and not beholden to anybody. They don't want to bend the knee. They don't want any restrictions on what they're doing at their place, right? That's what they do. So now my guys, after 2 decent hauls in this game, are looking at redesigning the interior of their castle. They're literally redecorating the castle, the keep. It's one of those really tall ones, but it's only one level. And this was a design in history where there wasn't internal second floors. It was just really tall ceilings. It's kind of weird, in my opinion. But you do it because you want the people on top, but you don't want to. It's just very basic inside. So they are redesigning it. So I'm going to be doing some math today, dungeons and logistics, and because they're in town, in Restonford, which doesn't have a lot of the merchant class that they're looking for, but they have just really put a smile on Peltar's face by getting kind of ringed in a deal. They have access to Peltar in the short term and his apprentices, and from the end of the Dying Minotaur, they will be making their purchases and plans while they're in town, and their training, and then execute. And the execute part will be hiring, transporting, and protecting the laborers to refurbish the keep. This is going to take up a few months of the game time. I don't think they realize that yet. A few months of game time just got shot. So they're doing the administrative thing at second and third level. Which, when you first come into some coinage, it's the first thing you should be doing. Setting up routes, if it's going to be a localized campaign, and getting the equipment that you need to be a more efficient adventurer. And it's not just the shit in your backpack. Sometimes it's a logistics train that makes it easier for you, right? That makes it easier to project power, to project your will upon the world. So now they have a hidden cave they've taken from some bandits that they've noted on a map. They have a stone house in the mountains that they've left a player character who has not been back in several sessions. So they have an outpost in the Zerbo Mountains, and they have a keep. And each of those building locations I count as civilization for XP and rest. So you get your con bonus when you sleep at night in those locations, and if you get treasure back to those locations, bam, that's counting as town for XP for gold. So they're plundering some of the lower levels of the keep, and as soon as they go up the ladder, they got the XP for the treasure. And right now in this region they're at, that would be the town of Restonford, the mountain stronghold, and Falcon's Rest, their keep that they have as a group. Could use a few more players. Got a 3-person core, and they are now really paying attention to retainers, which is good. What they should be doing. And it's working well. But the extra details keep your players interested in my shipping and handling. And I'm sure there's a medieval term for that kind of fee. They like the details. I encourage you to use small details catered to your table. Some people will hate it. I'm not paying extra. But then go do it yourself. Then you're paying extra, but in the form of time. Time is money. Your time is money. So what value you put on your time could be less or more than that pile of gold you got from the last adventure, or all that silver that you don't know what to do with. Oh, do I really want to lose 10% of the silver? I just pay for everything silver. I'll pay the merchant in silver. Make him do it. I pay the scrubs in silver. They go do it. Yeah. They don't just do the dance and the jumping up and down for the gold coin. They do it for the silver and the electrum and everything else. I'm waiting for them to see what they're going to do with this bronze statue they got. I need to introduce a new coin each time of my campaign, and it's the bronze piece. The bronze piece is half a copper. Completely, they'll hate it until they realize they have bronze, like 500 bronze right there, and they can make 500 pounds. A pound is 10 coins, so that'd be quite a bit of bronze. They're building a forge anyway. They want to put the forge inside the keep, and I'm thinking, you have stables outside your keep already. Why not put the forge outside? You're going to have people there for your horses anyway, right? It's not made for horses to be inside the keep. But anyway, kicking around ideas, goofing on Twitter this morning, drinking my coffee. Yeah, you get the best ideas at 3 in the morning. Game well, game often, y'all. I'm probably going to make several videos today because I haven't done it in a while, and I do them in spurts. I don't know why. It's how it is. But get your game on this weekend. If you game on weekends. I don't game on weekends. I do family stuff on weekends. Softball tournament. Yay. Later.